Hello, students. A very good day. I am here today to do a very wonderful and lyrical poem with all of you. An elementary school classroom in a slum by a very well known poet, Stephen Spender. So, let us first of all understand the title of the poem An elementary school classroom in a slum. Elementary means primary, very basic. An elementary school is a school wherein children between 5 to 13 years of age study. A slum is a very downtrodden, filthy area, usually near a city or a town, with poverty and squalor all around. So, now I would like to tell you something about the poet Stephen Spender. He is popularly known as one of the most representative poets of the 30s. Stephen Spender, along with other contemporaries of his time, actively participated in the Spanish Revolution, and he was born in the year 1909 and died in 1995. He was an English poet and an essayist, and he took keen interest in politics, declaring himself a socialist and a pacifist. A socialist is a person who works for social causes, and a pacifist, as we all know, is a person who is anti war, who advocates peace. Some of well known books, as we can see in the beginning of the chapter, written by the poet: Poems of Dedication, The Edge of Being, The Creative Element, The Struggle of the Modern, World Within World, and an autobiography. Stephen Spender has concentrated on themes of social injustice, class inequalities, and empathy for the downtrodden. And the two main factors which influenced the writings of Stephen Spender a lot were the concepts of Freud and Marx. We all know that anyone who studied Freud in depth has a deep insight into the human mind. And the supporters of the Marxist movement always believed in a classless society. In a society where the rich, which are also known as haves, were looked at with a lot of affection and care, and a dream they nurtured where they thought that one day the poor, that is the have-nots, would have the same opportunities as haves. So, looking at the poem, we can see what an elementary school classroom in a slum looks like. So, before we study the poem, it's very important to know that to understand this poem, one needs to rise above the locale of a place. An elementary classroom in a slum, be it in America, be it in England, be it in India or Pakistan, would look quite the same in all the places. Very much like any other slum classroom, and very much unlike the classroom of the rich people and the haves. So, an elementary classroom in a slum is completely contrast of the classrooms of the middle class or the prosperous people of society. Like, we are studying in a very good school, and the classroom which we are having is completely different from the classroom which is there in slums. You can empathize this if you ponder upon it. So, this poem also shows the absolute poverty, the abject suffering, and the negligence of the haves towards the have-nots, and how education is a dream for many children. But on the other hand, it's not a dream for the economically sound class of the society. Imagine an elementary school classroom where children not even have desks and chairs. They don't even have blackboards to study, and perhaps they have a syllabus which is beyond their imagination and understanding. And now we can make out that the education is far from what it should be like in those places. So we have a view of a slum in this poem, and my heart breaks to see how some of us live in the most beautiful atmosphere and surroundings amidst all the amenities and facilities to get a better education, to get a good education, with mountains and lakes and forests all around us in this beautiful town of Almora. And these children of the slums, they are squashed between buildings. Their existence is very inhuman and they coexist with the animals. And it is here that they are supposed to cope up with a very challenging syllabus, with things they have never seen. They have to understand those concepts and ideas and feelings which they have never felt themselves. And here we can imagine the beautiful sea and the world of the rich people, world of the haves, the world of nature. And nature has always been our first teacher, as we see in this poem. So now coming to the poem, I am going to explain the poem in detail, word for word. And let's see what the poet is trying to convey through the lovely lines of the first stanza of the poem. So I'll read the stanza first. And before I read the stanza, I would like you to imagine that we actually have a camera. And while focusing, your first stanza actually focuses on some children. And it's nice to see how this camera has captured the images so clearly. The images of the classroom of the slum, which is full of the images which portray poverty, depravity, and the underprivileged. So the poet has started the poem like so. Now I'm going to read the first stanza, and I request all my students to please remain in synchrony with me. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky ear of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game. In tree room other than this. So the poet has started the first stanza of the poem with a repetition of the words far, far. You may see that. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces. I think by repeating this word, he is only trying to say that how far in actuality is the life of these young children who inhabit the slums. How far is the life from the beautiful gusty waves? Gusty means full of life. These children are anything but full of life. Means these children are deprived of life. These children are deprived of animation, cheerfulness, and happiness. These children are underprivileged. They have no energy left. They are as if lifeless and dreamless. So now we need to focus on the word rootless in the next line. Like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor. Now the word rootless means rootless weeds. So it has here two connotations. One is rootless means the children without any binding, without any attachment, without any fine foundation. उनकी कोई बुनियाद नहीं है, वो बिल्कुल बेसहारा हैं. देयर हेयर विच इज़ अनकेम्प्ड, उनके जो बाल हैं वो अनकेम्प्ड हैं, रफ हैं, अंडर नरिश्ड, एंड दे लुक लाइक ग्रास, ड्राई ग्रास, रूटलेस. Whenever we take out grass from a garden, it gives the color of soft brown and somewhat like brownish appearance. So उनके बाल भी वैसे ही हैं. The rootless again relates to the children without any foundation in life. These children who live in slum are basically without any strong background. They have come from different places. They belong to parents who have come looking for pastures new, who have no roots, and they have all come here to survive. And these young children, as we know, then become partners in survival with the adults. Now weeds, rootless weeds. The word weed actually means unwanted plants. Literal meaning of the word is unwanted plants. Plants which grow here and there without any invitation, without any effort, they grow there. And these children are also coming from unknown roots. They are surviving. They are unwanted actually in society. Like weeds are those plants which are unwanted in a garden. So these children are unwanted in society. इनकी ज़रूरत नहीं है किसी को इन बच्चों की. इस तरह के बच्चे हैं स्लम्स में रहने वाले. The tall girl with her weighed down head. The focus of the camera now moves to one tall girl sitting in a classroom of slum, and that girl has a weighed down head. A tall girl is standing there with her head weighed down. Now why do you think her head is weighed down? उसका सर झुका है किसी भार से उस गर्ल का. The girl's head is weighed down with the atrocities, with the burden of poverty, with the burden of humiliation, with lack of confidence, with pity. Her head is weighed down. वो tall girl जो क्लासरूम में है उसका सर झुका है अपने अभागेपन की वजह से. So my dear students, see the difference. She does not have the confidence which you have, your faith in yourself, your self-esteem with your parents and your teachers and the world has given you. This girl is a tall girl who can't even put her head up because of the atrocities of poverty. The paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes. The second focus now goes on a second boy who looks like a paper and he has rat's eyes. Now look at the usage of the word. Look at the sharp imagery. The paper-seeming boy, कागज के जैसा दिखने वाला लड़का. Now how the boy looks like paper? First of all, the boy is very thin like a paper due to malnutrition, due to undernourishment, due to lack of proper food. Secondly, the paper is white in color. The face of that boy is also white due to weakness, due to anemia. The boy is very thin as a paper. Perhaps he had not had a meal in several days. So he is totally malnourished. Now he has rat's eyes. And now why he has rat's eyes? Because the rat's eyes is always looking out for food. Rat's eyes are always greedy. It is hunting for food all the time. कभी चूहों को देखना घर में, वो हमेशा खाना ढूंढते रहते हैं क्योंकि भूखे रहते हैं. वैसे ये बच्चा भी चूहे जैसी आंखें हैं इसकी, उस ग्रीड की वजह से, लालच की वजह से. Now the next line, the stunted, unlucky ear of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. अब एक दूसरा अगला बच्चा यहाँ पे उसकी बात हो रही है. The focus moves on to the stunted, unlucky ear of twisted bones. One child who is stunted. Stunted means short-heighted, not very tall, not very developed or grown. Unlucky ear. H-E-I-R is ear. Ear means a person who inherits the property of forefathers. But here the boy is unlucky ear. He's not a wealthy boy. He's unlucky ear. अभागा है वो. उसने क्या इनहेरिट किए? प्रॉपर्टी तो इनहेरिट नहीं करी, लेकिन अपने पिता की एक बीमारी, हड्डियों की बीमारी को इनहेरिट कर रखा है, यानी वो बीमार है. So the usage of the word unlucky here is very significant here. How ironical, you can see, irony है कि वो year भी है और unlucky भी है. And here is someone who inherits lot of property and money and wealth from the world and from forefathers. But this child is an unlucky year. Why is he an unlucky year? Because his only inheritance from his father is gnarled disease of twisted bones. As we know that disease as rickets or rheumatism. So he's called an unlucky year. And he too is struggling hard with all his deformities in the classroom to recite his lesson from his desk. और ये अपनी उस डिफॉर्मिटी के साथ ही एक लेसन को जिसको दिया गया उसे पढ़ने का प्रयास कर रहा है उस क्लासरूम में बैठ के. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in 3 room other than this. Now again we talk about the next student in the classroom. At the back of the dim class we see one unnoted student who is young, very young. The classroom is very dim. The classroom has no light, no illumination. अब स्लम का क्लासरूम है तो वहाँ लाइट नहीं है, अंधेरा है, और उस अंधेरे में पीछे के कोने में एक बच्चा बैठा हुआ है. And the boy is a very sweet child at the back of the class who would rather go out and play games with a squirrel in a tree. और वो बच्चा क्लासरूम से बाहर देख के उस क्लासरूम में बोर हो रहा है, उसका मन नहीं लग रहा. वो ये सोच रहा है कि काश मैं क्लास के बाहर जाके जो गिलहरी है पेड़ के ऊपर उसके साथ कोई गेम खेलूं. So he want to go out of the classroom. He want to get free from that dark and dingy classroom. And he feels that it's better to go out and play with the wild animals, play with squirrels outside rather than go through the drudgery of this class. And all this so kind of such superficial knowledge being imparted to them, because whatever knowledge is being given to them is somewhat irrelevant and superficial in the light of the conditions in which they are living. They are not even having basic amenities, not even having nice food, basic things to live, and they are given a very, difficult education. So it's kind of superficial, I must say. Something which they couldn't relate to. The education which is being given to them, they can't actually relate to that education on account of lack of the basic facilities in life. He would rather be out and relate to the nature and learn from nature. तो मतलब नेचर में जाके नेचर से सीखना ज़्यादा उनके लिए बेहतर है, बशर्ते कि ये इस्लाम के अंधेरे क्लासरूम में पढ़ना. सो दिस इज़ द कंडीशन ऑफ द बॉय who is dreaming to go out of the classroom. So this sweet and young boy who is sitting at last, we can also see him as a symbol of hope, because despite the most abject poverty, the most pathetic conditions of this dilapidated classroom, he does dare to dream. At least he has the courage to dream, to go out. And we know that one who dreams eventually achieves that dream. So this is all about the first stanza of the poem. And you may notice some literary devices, some rhetorical devices which are used in the poem. There are some metaphors which are used, like rat's eyes, rootless weeds, gusty waves. These are metaphors which are used. And second paragraph will start in our next lesson, next video. Till then, I request all of you to please revise this first stanza, because the meaning of the theme is entirely different from the literal meaning given in the poem. The sentences say something, but the deep hidden meaning is something else. So you need to read between the lines what actually the message, what is the essence the poet wants to convey. So these poems are very deep. They are not just simply the words. You need to read whatever is hidden beneath those words. You have to extract that hidden meaning out of the poem. So please revise the stanza, and in case you have any query, any doubt, you are most welcome. You can always call me in my number, or you can send a message through WhatsApp. I'll definitely reply to you. Till then, take care.